Hey everybody, Chris with Digital Horizons. Once again, I'm with Scott Johannes. We are at our Experience Center in Brainerd, Minnesota, and today we're going to bring you a video overview, a narration of an install we recently completed at the Crosby Assembly of God Church in Crosby. And the primary thing we were doing during this install was helping them with their projection system. They had a, 10-year-old projector or something like that?
Yeah, it's at least that.
Yeah.
It was an old Christie 4500 lumen projector.
Pretty small, yeah.
It'd been kind of patched together a couple times.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked, but
So we were installing a newer, what we refer to as a large format projector capable of really high light output, or high lumen count as it's referred to in our industry. It's a measurement of the brightness of the projector. And then we also helped them with a brand new screen that was more appropriately sized for their congregation. And as we do with a lot of churches, house of worships in our area, we were able to employ their help to help keep the cost down for them, which means in a lot of cases, they're able to do more with their money, get more equipment, better equipment, just to better serve their congregation. There's times where there's things that we insist that we have to do just for technical reasons or for just warranty reasons from manufacturers. But like in this case, they primarily helped out with the projection screen, which we just need. It's too big for one person to handle. So Scott was out there and they helped put the screen up, take the old one down. So yeah, what's going on right now?
what I've been doing is basically just getting the old projectors down, and the old projectors were just using VGA, and so we were
Which is an older analog,
yeah, an older
low
analog.
resolution.
Yep. And so we were kind of giving the upgrade. They've got a new scaler in there that has HDMI out. They're you'll see later they have a different computer now that had actually HDMI out, so they had a better.
Did it have one or two outputs? Probably had two
It
outputs,
had three
right?
outputs,
Oh, three outputs,
but
okay.
they only used two: the local monitor and then the output for the.
But that's the reason for
projectors.
multiple is
Right.
they have, it may be hard to see in the video, but there's the primary screen and then the secondary monitor, which is often what goes to the projector.
Right.
So the person that's running it will set things up on the primary screen and then maybe drag a window or something off onto the second screen, and then that's what goes to the projectors for the congregation, or we'll probably talk about in a little bit the confidence screen behind, so that people on the stage can look towards the congregation during the service and be able to follow along without having to turn around and look at the screen behind them.
Right. So I got both projectors up there now. I ran new HDMI cables down, ran them underneath the table to where, and this is Sean's actually working on that part of it right now. But I aligned the back projector, kind of temporarily aligned the forward-facing projector, so we knew kind of our boundaries of what we can and can't do with the new screen location. And so now we're up to, we just pulled the old screen down, and
It was just a manual screen, wasn't it?
it wasn't a manual pull down screen, but they never rolled it up
was
because
just always
it's
down.
so high
Yeah.
up. It's just a pain. But they had an old water baptismal tank up there that they boxed in, and we had kind of planned out to use that space and actually cover some of the lack of the wood. And you'll see in a bit here when the new screen goes up. But it's a 210-inch diagonal screen.
It's
So,
very big.
It's massive.
Yeah.
It's way more than you think it is
Right.
when it's laying out on the floor.
Yeah. It looks small on the
'Cause
floor, yeah.
it's like it's 8 pieces of the frame, and you start bolting it together, and you're like, man, this thing is huge.
Yep.
Yeah, I hope it goes up there, but we don't measure.
Well, we did the measurements,
We measured it
yeah.
out ahead of
Yeah.
time, but you start looking at it like, man, that is a huge screen. It's a huge screen, and then you finally get it up, and then you step back into the congregation, like, yeah, that's the right size
right
screen.
speed,
But
yeah.
that's because you're 20, 30 feet away now instead of being up on the stage looking up at it.
Right.
Like, whoa.
You get the scale of the wall and everything that's going
Right.
behind it. Now we're about the projector that you're seeing, the big one there with the 3 vents in the back.
Yep.
How far is that from that wall?
That's 59 feet 6 inches.
Okay.
From
Now,
the, from the tip of the lens to the wall.
okay.
So
Now that's a long distance.
It's
How are we able to shoot an image that big from that far back?
most of the installation projectors, especially ones that are this big, have removable lenses, and then you can get either long throw or short throw lenses to fit the application. And
Yep.
in this case, the old projector they had also had a long throw lens to hit the size of the screen that was there before.
Yep.
This, instead of changing everything up, we already had the mounts. We just had to change the interface plate for the projector. Drops right back on there.
Yep.
The other projector, same thing. We were able to change both projectors out with just a matter of taking the old one down, putting the new one up, and everything's back up and going again.
But it takes careful planning and measurement, and
It does, because you have to make sure your sight lines are correct. If that projector was a little higher than the frame of the building,
you might have
the
fans
trusses
in the way
would be in the
something.
way. If you were way too high, the fans would be in the way, or lights. Your sight lines from down below, you want to make sure where you position the screen that you're not blocking anything with any part of the building, so everybody can get to see the whole screen from the congregation. So, and once we got that screen up, come back, finalize the projector adjustments, get it leveled, get it squared up, make sure, you probably saw in there was a little bit of a crosshatch pattern.
Yep.
Most of those projectors have an installation, a series of test screens. You can go through and make sure all your colors are correct, and make sure all your just the squareness of your projector is accurate.
Filling the screen,
yeah,
and
so
there's
you're
no
not,
overlap. And
you're not keystoning, you're not doing anything weird, you're not bleeding over in weird areas. You want to make sure pixel for pixel you got that thing square on the screen.
Now with a 210-inch screen, which I think it was a daylight screen, right?
Yep.
This was their perm wall screen. So the way that gets installed is the frame mounts to the wall, and then, as you saw about a minute or so ago, the fabric gets raised up, and then there's a series of 25, 30 snaps
per edge, basically.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of snaps,
and then that ensures that the fabric, even as large as it is flat and smooth. So when the image is projected on it, it looks good. And then for that size of a screen, you need a really big projector. And so I think this is an 8500 lumen.
8500 lumen projector.
Which is massive. Two lamps, right?
Dual lamps, yep. So it really has a good light output. They still have a little bit to figure out in the future with the lighting. The front two lights are those globes that emit light everywhere.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of that excess light reflecting off the screen, but the projector is able to overpower most of that.
Yep.
But in the future, their next thing is going to be to address the lighting in the room, and if they can take away more of that ambient light hitting the screen, it just increases your contrast ratio. You get darker blacks. You get a better picture in general.
Sure.
It's easier to see the details.
So when it was all done, what did they have to say about it?
Oh, it was amazing.
Were they happy?
They loved it. Because the old projector was only an XGA 1024 by 768. This one's actually a 1280 by 800.
Right.
But it's twice the light output.
Right.
And the other projector, there was
twice the light output on probably twice the screen surface. Maybe 50% more.
Yeah, not quite as much more. But the height was about the same, maybe a little bit more height, but the width is what we really gained on here was 1610 aspect. The other one was a 4.3.
Okay.
So
yeah.
But the other projector was getting so bad they could barely make out colors. Everything had to be a black
Super
slide
washed
with white
out,
text to even read the slides. Here now they can put color backgrounds in and make it look really nice.
It's a big difference.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.